I was going to get some food out of the fridge today, and I realized I got all this leftover lasagna. And the reason I have so much left over is that I made this whole dinner, and the kids barely ate any of it. And it's always such a, I don't know, let down to like spend your time slaving in the kitchen and make something nice, only to have the kids turn their noses up at it. And it also reminds me of a feeling I think a lot of teachers have, that you spend time putting all this course together and all these things that you want to get people interested in. Particularly math teachers are known for being let down in this particular way, being up at the board, writing out something that they think is beautiful, and then a hand goes up in the back and the student asks, is this going to be on the test? And if you want to break a mathematician's heart, that's exactly how to do it. But I don't know. I also overhear a lot of conversations where, teachers are complaining like, oh, this was all in the syllabus. I put all this work into doing these things. I'm hoping to find ways to go through life without just complaining about crap like that. And in doing so, it has been helpful for me to try and figure out some of the root causes. Now, a lot of people, when they look for root causes like that, they stop as soon as they find someone they think they can blame, or something they think they can blame. Oh, students are lazy today. Oh, they're all too busy, or I don't know, they're too distracted by TikTok or something like that. But when it comes down into it, I one of the root causes that I think I've found, and don't always get a chance to ameliorate, but have noticed as it applies to other spheres of life and my own learning and things like that, is level of agency and level of involvement that they have. So let's go back to my kids and the lasagna for a minute. My involvement with the lasagna is I had what I thought was a good idea for something that was tasty. I found some ingredients I liked. I spent some time carefully putting these things together. I took agency. I was the one who got to come up with the idea and enact the plan and all those things. And I'm the one who likes cooking. And so I enacted that. I took initiative. I involved myself purposefully in the endeavor of making that food. And I think that's a big part in enjoying the results. Whereas my kids, they were doing their own thing. They were doing some homework. They were trying to build Legos. They didn't even care that it's dinner time. They wanted more time to play. They certainly don't care about all the time and stuff that went into this, because it's not care that they took. It's not their dinner. It's something that's being sort of provided for them and required of them to get through the day. And so in some ways, it's very natural to not have that same level of attachment. And I think that that's the situation we are in very, very often in school. And one of the differences between how learning is configured in school versus how it works out in informal learning environments. It is certainly one of the big differences that I see between, say, like a class like this that's set up to be accessible online and only offered online. Is it really, in order to engage with it on an intentional level, I think a student would really have to have some strong reason to be there and trying to get something out of that experience. Now, most students who sign up have at a minimum that certificate level involvement. If I complete this class, it's part of a program, I can get, sort of through this program to get this certification to move on with my life. But that's actually pretty tangential to what really happens within the classroom learning environment itself. And in fact, if I could just give you your grade and never have you show up, that would probably be preferable to a whole bunch of people. And it's only in those other situations where either there is a pre-existing level of care or that can be recruited during the class itself. And it's certainly one of the things that in my other classes, I try to rely on that personal in the same room connection to create a level of care for working with each other. And it's certainly harder in this setup, and maybe one of the reasons I wanted to do these little videos. to at least create the sense of a personal connection. But because I have to put this course entirely in a box ahead of time and sort of ship it off, I can't be responsive in the same way. I mean, I'm hoping the discussion posts help out, but I can't really respond in the same kind of way. And then the other bit of ingredient is not just sort of a reason to care or an intention, but an ability to effect change, a way to have some agency in that process. And that's another level where a typical classroom falls down. The kinds of problems we give students in order to have them be digestible, easy to work through, bit by bit, standardizable, tend to be pretty boring things to do. The stuff we call busy work. Not the stuff that can be life-changing. And also, all the assignments, they're figured out ahead of time without that student's input, without that student's consent, often for like technical, legalistic, or logistic reasons, but also because students are not permitted to have that sort of power in the classroom usually. And so anytime we can try and change up some of those things, we have the possibility of creating a greater reason to care and become involved in a learning situation. And if you look at the situations where you've learned something, sort of on your own for a reason you had in your life, other than, what it would gain you in the way of certificates or, being required to do it to get through something, I think you'll see that level of personal commitment and that ability to do something with your learning are often super key. So here's to making more lasagna and making it together.